are watching from Facebook right now, thank you, thank you. I'm going to just take a quick second to make sure that we are live, and we are, and we're going to have some fun. And I'm going to introduce myself to you, but first I'm going to let Bethany. Actually, before Bethany, you introduce yourself. I will say that Bethany, my name is Kim Basler. I am a food freedom and mindset coach, and Bethany approached me online. She happens to live in my community, my city as well, and we do similar work. And she learned about me and said, "Hey, would you like to meet for a coffee and like talk about what we do and your opinions and your feelings?" And I thought, sure, I'm up for that. And obviously, we know that in this world of when people have challenges with food, there's lots of different approaches to quote unquote fix those problems with food. And so Bethany and I think we probably like literally we met for the first time and we probably could have sat there for hours. Eh, Bethany, would you agree?
For sure. It was too short.
Yeah, yeah. So we had a really great conversation. And I would say overall, our ideas and our approaches are very similar. And I think that's the beauty of the work that we do, and even your own individual journey with your approach with nutrition, exercise, whatever we're talking about. You honestly have to do what's best for you at the stage of life that you're in. I know that I've been on this journey since 2016. What about you, Bethany?
I feel like I've been on this journey since I was 5.
Well, yeah, sure
It's
enough.
going
Sure
back
enough.
away.
So okay, so let me reframe the question in terms of you starting to work, on your own relationship with food, and really taking that in this direction. Where
Mhm.
has that been for you?
Yeah, so I think I feel like I've been studying and preparing my whole life for this line of work,
Mhm,
to be in this to help other people
mhm,
with their own struggles and issues. Part of it has been working through my own struggles with weight and emotional eating, and that feels like it's been lifelong.
mm,
And I also had an interest in this from a really young age too. So even in university, I did my psychology undergrad thesis on self-esteem and dieting, trying to figure things out,
yep,
right?
yeah.
And of course, I wish I knew then what I know now, but I tried all kinds of diets, like so many. I think you could probably name it, and I've tried it. And I've tried cognitive behavioral therapy. I've tried not thinking about it at all, and
How does that work?
yeah, not well, not well. And so yeah, none of it really worked, right? Like I had been to Weight Watchers even before I was allowed to be at Weight Watchers. My mom was following the program, and so she gave it to me. And it was, yeah, it just none of it really worked at all. And I always thought that that was my fault. I thought I just wasn't, smart enough. I haven't figured this out. I didn't have enough stick-to-itness. I didn't have enough willpower, whatever it was, right? And so I've done lots of learning in the recent years about this, all of this, also food addiction, sugar addiction, and it just everything started to make more sense to me. It was like one more piece of the puzzle, right? And since I've learned about more puzzle pieces, right? Emotional eating, body image, diet culture, dealing with past trauma. And that's where you and I have a lot of common ground.
Mhm.
And I think I came to this line of work then and coaching people in it because I want to continue to help others get freedom from these constant battles with our bodies and with the food and everything. So
Mhm.
a long time ago, I got a master's of social work. I didn't know I'd be using it in this way,
Mhm.
but that's how I'm using it now and trying to put it to good use, just to be able to help people with it, because I know what that journey's been like for me, right? And everybody's journey is different, but I want to help where I can. So
I
yeah,
love
that's a little bit about my story.
I love that. We have a lot of similar stories, a lot of similar background. We won't go into it today, but I know that Bethany, and maybe we do, but Bethany and I had a very good conversation too about the term addiction when it comes to food, when it comes to sugar. So that was a really good conversation. And that's what I'm always doing is it's like, let's share opinions, let's share ideas, let's share why we agree with something or not necessarily agree with something. And it was such a good conversation. So thank you for that. I came into this work because, I too have made dieting a career. If I think back, I went on my first diet at 12 years old, joined a gym at 14 years old, became a fitness instructor at 16 years old, and this pursuit of quote unquote health, but also managing and controlling the size of my body because I believed that that was going to bring me the happiness, the self-acceptance, the beauty. Like, when we're young, especially as girls, what are we taught? We're supposed to look pretty, we're supposed to be thin, we're supposed to be attractive, we're supposed to smile, we're supposed to be happy and say yes to everyone. And that whole journey of my body challenges, struggling with diet culture, led me into an eating disorder in high school, led me into 30 years of daily weighing of my body. And I've recently touched on this, that dieting doesn't just affect our bodies. It affects our dreams. It affects our ability to pursue careers, to find ourselves striving for new things in life, because dieting really keeps your brain busy. Dieting keeps you from thinking big. Dieting shrinks you. It makes you feel like you're not enough. And that's what ended up starting to happen for me when I was in leadership in a large fitness company that I was working for. Is the struggles of me trying to be everything to everyone, including being a mother, including being a wife. It just got to be too much. And for me, it was my mental health that caused me to have to pull out of that. I wish I could say I consciously chose to leave, but that was not what happened. It was definitely a higher energy that pulled me out. I believe in God, so I will say it was God that did that for me. But here I am, and I had to, when I left my career, Bethany, I wasn't like, oh, this is great. No, I was like shame. I was like hiding for a really long time. And it's only when I came across which is where I started my studying, which is the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, is where I started to recognize, that there's thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that are feeding our inability for us to trust our bodies, listen to our bodies, love ourselves. And that's where my journey began. And I've been now coaching since 2017. And now obviously just recently certified in NLP and hypnotherapy and some other modalities. So I love the work that I do, as I know you do as well. And what we're going to do today, those of you that are chiming in with us, thank you for being here. Feel free, if you have questions, to type them in the comments. I think what Bethany and I are going to do is just kind of do a little round robin and just ask ourselves questions back and forth here. But we will come back and answer questions if you have them. But really the purpose of today's conversation, selfishly, is for us to, continue to get to know each other, but also just to share a little bit about the work that we do. And maybe today, I hope today you will walk out of this conversation with a new way of looking at something, or a new way for you to get curious around where you are in your life, because we're all at different ages, different seasons, different backgrounds, different things that have brought us to where we are. But we're here to shine a little light on this big topic of food, body image, and mindset. So, all right, we're on to question number 2. I'm going to ask it to you first, okay?
Sure.
Okay, so we Bethany created these amazing questions for us. So, what's something you used to believe, and you also told people about it, that has changed for you over the years?
Yeah, so I think for me, I used to believe, and I also believe this for other people, that this would be true for them too, that being at a thin weight is the goal, right? Or that phrase that we've heard, nothing tastes as good as being thin feels, right? And I bought into that, and I've been heavy and I've been thin. And there are things that taste wonderful when you eat them mindfully, right? So sometimes I think it's this mindset around what keeps us thin, and that's extremely damaging, right? So it's damaging to, you said, not only to our bodies, but to our mental health as well. and our dreams and our futures and everything. And we are just so much more than our weight, right? So, so I'm getting to the point now where I can say, hey, you know what? My weight is the least important thing about me, or least interesting thing about me. So the other thing that I used to believe, I think that, and tell people about, is that we needed to get to a healthy BMI, right? So the BMI, the body mass index, I knew about some of the flaws in the BMI as a measure. But now I don't think of it as, just this flawed tool that we should still loosely adhere to it. I really now think of it as a very inaccurate indicator of health, and it really should just be ditched. We should toss it. I have learned now more about it, looking into it, that the levels of the BMI between, like, say, healthy and overweight and obese, like, those were very arbitrarily set. And they were designed, like, the people who were on the committees who designed these things, they had an interest in keeping us thinking that we needed to lose weight. Right. And so they're basically, these tools are designed to make us believe that we need to lose weight for our health, which may or may not be true.
Yeah.
Right. It may not be true for us at all. So like, at a heavier weight than what the BMI says is healthy, I have very good health indicators, right? And my doctors say, I'm a very healthy person, right? So yeah, so I just think that that's something that I definitely used to believe, that the BMI was a very good tool to measure our health. And that is not something I believe anymore. So how about you, Kim? What's something you used to believe and now you
Well, right now I'm like, I agree with everything. That's exactly the direction I was going to go as well, Bethany. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add to this conversation. So
Sure.
I'm going to echo everything that you've just said. And then I'm just going to add on a few. And these are my own personal opinions based on my own journey and also the hundreds of women that I've spoke to. So I feel very strong that this could be something that you could relate to as well. So I used to believe that using a body weight scale was a great tool for me to monitor my weight. Okay, so I used that scale to dictate how I was going to eat and how I was going to move my body. And because I had this belief that if I stayed within, 5 pounds of this particular number, then I would be quote unquote happy with myself. And so that was an element of control. And we are very much a masculine based society. We need to have numbers, we need to measure things. And many of us have a belief that I just need to be at this number and I will be okay. I know for me that number, that scale use, and I use that scale in a very poor way. There's some people that might say, using a scale once a month or once every few weeks works for them. And I say, great, do what feels right for you. You ultimately know yourself. But I know for me and for so many that the scale, because it is so skewed on so many variables that can change what we weigh, especially if we are vulnerable, if we are lacking in belief and confidence and self-esteem, those numbers can wreak havoc on us. I always say that my husband always knew whether or not I had a good scale weigh in the morning because sorry, my computer's telling me it needs to be charged. Because if the scale didn't say what I believed it should say, it immediately showed up in my personality, my energy, my ability to welcome my children in the morning, say good morning to them, because it changed me, that scale. And I believe personally that our bodies are changing every single day. Our needs change every single day. So to let a number on a scale tell you how you're allowed to eat that day is causing more harm than good. The other thing that I used to believe is that if I were not struggling with my weight so much, this need to control my weight, I remember saying this to a therapist, then I would be happy because so much of my happiness was based on me liking my body. And do we ever like our body? Because as you said, Bethany, like there's times where I was significantly smaller, like quite quote unquote small. and I still struggled with body dysmorphia in that smaller body. So, happiness for me at this point now, and that's why I so resonate with the hashtag more than a body, the book more than a body. We are so much more than our bodies. And once you allow yourself to branch off from feeling like your body is the gateway to your happiness, your self acceptance, then you're going to be able to see so much more of what's around you in life that can feed you, that can give you ability to have gratitude and so forth. So there's a lot. I mean, let's throw one more out there really quickly. I think this could be a long call, but we'll condense it. Eat less, exercise more. I 100% believed that. And I mean, as old as it is, I literally saw somebody talking about it this morning again. It's still around. And, if you're listening to this right now going, but I'm eating 1,200 calories a day and I'm exercising every day and I'm still gaining weight. Well, that's the problem. So if you have questions about that one, dive into that with us. So yeah, there we go.
Can I just add to that too with the scale?
Course.
Because I've had a similar journey with the scale, and eventually came to the point where I realized, you know what? It doesn't matter what this number is. If it's higher than I think it should be, I'm upset. If it's lower, like if I've lost weight, I'm still upset because I didn't lose as much as I thought I would, or whatever.
Yeah,
Like
or like letting that
negative.
scale tell me, well, now I'm allowed to be happy. Like how
Right.
wrong is that, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Way too much. We give way too much power to that scale, and it's such a crude measure.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it persists, right?
It does. It does. Yeah. All right, you got the next one.
Okay, my turn. So, Kim, what would you tell a younger version of you? So a young Kim, a little Kim, about body image or food or weight or any of it.
Such a beautiful question, and one I think about a lot. There's going to be a lot of common theme, but right off the top, there's nothing wrong with your body. There's nothing wrong with your body. I grew up I was born in 1975, and back then, I mean, there was no conversation about body diversity. And I remember being a little girl, and I always like to preface that there's nothing wrong with any of our bodies, but there truly was, my body was taller. And I just had a different frame than my friends, but I always viewed myself as bigger. But I didn't understand that I was bigger just because my body is different, and that we're supposed to be different, and that's what makes the world so beautiful, right? So I mean, really, for me, it's not only just about body, it's about I am enough. I don't need to do more. I don't need to make more people like me. I don't need to go around trying to make people see me for all the things that I do. Like, I'm enough. We're all enough who we are, because that would give me if I think, I mean, again, I believe that all of our life's experiences are here to teach us. Everything that I've gone through, everything that you've gone through allows us to do the important work that we do in the world, and allows us to relate and understand people because we've gone through those similar struggles, and we also deal with them maybe still today. But all of us, we come into this world whole. We come into this world beautiful, perfect as we are. And if we could go back, which is what I always like to say, go back to that younger self and give her the love that she needed back then, and let her know that she's enough. So that's what I would go back and tell my little girl.
Lovely. Yeah, I think, well, I was born in 1972, so we grew up in the same era. Yeah. I think, so first of all, I think I would tell like my 5-year-old Bethany self, you're not your weight, because even at 5, I was noticing, I was maybe heavier than other kids, or, I probably would not have noticed that if my parents hadn't noticed that for me and decided that that was a problem that needed to be fixed. So I'm not disparaging my parents. They did the best they could with what they knew at the time, right? And how they were raised too. So, but to go back and say, you are not your weight. And your body is a vessel by which you experience the world, right? So do your best to keep it healthy and functioning well, like take care of it from a point of self-love, not to try and beat it into submission or try and get it into a shape that it just doesn't want to be, right? That's a huge waste of time and energy. And so if I could go back and tell my younger self, even my teenage self, like, wow, what a huge waste of energy that's going to be. And think of all the things that you could be doing if you weren't
Mhm.
doing that.
Yeah.
Like when you talked about, dreams being squashed too, like I think about all the time and energy that I have spent trying to diet, trying to force my body into a state it didn't want to be in, or trying to fit into clothing, that it wasn't designed for me.
Mhm.
All of these things. And I think, wow, I could have done, like, maybe I would have been like, I don't know, could have learned aeronautical space. I don't know. I could have done so many things
Yeah.
if I hadn't been trying to figure this out my whole life. And
Mhm.
and not only the diets, but then everything that else that comes with it, like just thinking, like I'm a smart woman. How come I can't figure out this area of my life? Thinking of it very compartmentalized, right? That
Yeah.
I'm great at my job. I'm, a good wife, good mother, good, like, neighbor, all these things. And I can't get this weight thing under control. And it was just so defeating all the time. Right. And so, yeah, realizing that I'm not my weight and my body is my body. And I'm just going to use my body to experience the world, like, so that my legs are big, they're strong, but I can use those to walk, and I can use those to bike, and I can use them to climb up a tobogganing hill and have fun,
Mhm.
so I can be thankful for what my body can do for me, right? And I'm a spirit and a soul living in this body. I am not my weight. I am not my actual body. Yeah, so that's one for sure. I think that I would also tell my younger self, like, because I've been, I do believe in the sugar addiction, and I do believe that foods that are processed and full of sugar and everything, those are designed to work against us, and they're going to work against your willpower and everything, right? And that's so I would tell myself that my desire to eat is not necessarily always something within my control, right? And it's going to take a lot of holistic work, not dieting, to break through some of those patterns with food that were established like since childhood.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think taking that bigger look, and I would probably also say to myself, by the time I was thinking about a first diet, I would just say, just don't.
Don't do it. Don't do it. No, it's so true. It's so true. Yeah, I mean, and I think it's important for everyone that's listening right now. Bethany, I'm gonna just assume that you're gonna agree with what I'm saying here, but it's not like we always feel this way. Like we still, like, we live in a world that is still very much diet culture is everywhere, right? So it's not like we never have thoughts and feelings about our bodies, and it's not like we're living in this perfect world, quote unquote perfect world. But I think that the piece is that we understand more about where this has all come from and why we have been taught to feel the way we feel at times about our body, and understanding that body, when we're having a bad body day, like, it's not our body that's changed from yesterday to today. It's
Right.
thoughts and feelings that we've experienced that we often will then, like, we push it onto the body, right? Because we it's our bodies don't have the ability to speak back to us, right? So I can easily just, take all this negative, this hurt, whatever it is that I've experienced, and I can put it onto my body. So I think it's important that we say that we understand we're women who predominantly, we know that men certainly struggle with challenges too, but there's obviously a huge pressure on women that has been with us for decades and years and years and years. So yeah, it's just being able to go back, and that's why both you and I spoke a lot about trauma and healing and inner child work, because those pieces of where we were taught things about ourselves come from those younger years. That's why, if you are a mom or a dad or a caregiver right now who has littles around you, start to understand how you're speaking. And I'm not saying this to make you feel bad for choices you've made or things that you've done, but we're here to say, understand that what you do or do not do, or say or do not say, does have impact. And if we want to work on changing the trajectory of our children's lives, it starts with us as their role model. So
And it's never too late for that, right?
never, never,
Yeah.
never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think too, like that part of that is like as a society, we love this, like we love a good before story and a good after story, right? So these like before and after photos and things, but like, yeah, don't show us this incremental change in between or this barely visible change in between, right? Like this part where you can't, or parts where you can't visibly tell the difference between then and now, right? But you can look on the inside and see how much has changed.
Oh yeah, and the inside to me will always go farther than the outside. Like I don't speak about this often. It's something that I feel I should speak about more because I think a lot of people can make judgments about my beliefs in this topic. I am never ever against somebody wanting to release weight or feeling better in a smaller body. I just believe that we have to know, is what we're doing to get in that smaller body healthy? And also knowing that no matter what size you are always worthy. And it is not your job to shrink your body to make other people more comfortable around you. And I also believe that when we do work on our inside and we heal, if that allows us to now no longer cope, numb, avoid through the use of food, and now the body releases what it no longer needed to carry for protection, then how can that be a wrong thing? But we know that in this world, there's a lot of intentional weight loss happening for the wrong reasons. It's not being done safely. People feel bad about themselves when they gain it back. The world judges it, and we praise weight loss and we judge weight gain. So that's why it's not just this one simple little conversation around weight. It's very complex, which is why you and I could have sat there for hours.
So true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing to me what has like you find this everywhere, right? It is really everywhere. So yeah, I just say amen to everything that you just said.
Yeah. So good. So good. All right. Next
Yeah.
question.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, sure, you can ask me.
All right. So we both have daughters. Um, and I think that uniquely women do feel, like you said, yes, men can feel a lot of these pressures too and have some of the same issues. But as women, we really do uniquely feel this pressure with our bodies and food and controlling our food, trying to diet, whatever it takes, right? And so I know that I have and I said it's never too late. Like my daughter's almost 19.
Mhm.
And we still have conversations about this because I have changed so much from the time that she was born, right? So the minute she was born, I was back on a diet, trying to lose like the baby weight,
Sure.
right? So yeah, so I think I just wanted to ask you, what is a message now that you want to give to your daughter and perhaps all the daughters out there?
I love this. And I too, I have a 19-year-old daughter, and to trust her body, to trust her body. Our bodies are born with the wisdom to know what they need, to know what foods may not feel good in your body. So my daughter definitely struggles with excess gluten and lactose in her body. She feels it. And so to be able, that's just one example, but also to know, well, I've exercised and of course I have more appetite because I'm moving more and I'm more active more and my lifestyle's changed. The point is our bodies, we can trust them. And we are taught again through diet culture that we can't trust our bodies, hence we need scales and we need containers to weigh and measure and color code our foods and all of these things. And I believe that if we learn, understanding hunger, fullness, mindfulness when we're eating, looking at our taste buds, recognizing what we need, it will support us down the road. And of course, around the body image standpoint, it is all about, I remember many conversations with my daughter, we still have them, about how our bodies change, through puberty and all of these different conversations, and how there is no one body that is better than the other. And from a social media standpoint, and I spoke with somebody a lot about this yesterday, social media is very damaging to our young girls. And I believe that the more we teach them about how social media is the filters, like we can't just assume that our children know these things, we have to tell them.
Mhm.
And you decide what that looks for you, but that's the direction that I have wanted my daughter to know all along. And knowing also that she can talk to me about anything. We have a very good conversation, a good relationship around that. She tells me everything. And I never dismiss or tell her she's wrong for feeling what she's feeling. I hear what she's feeling. I let her have those feelings, and then we talk about them. The last thing we want to do, I won't go into this one too in depth because it's a big conversation, but when your child comes to you and says, I'm fat, what is our immediate reaction to the child? No, honey, you're not fat. We do that because we are all carrying our own fat stigma that has been with us for years. So, really looking at your own beliefs and then having conversation about body diversity and so forth, because again, it starts with our children, and we know that children unfortunately are what they're taught at home they bring into the classroom. That's how the bullying continues. So those are some things that I have continued to support my daughter with, and believe that we're going to stop this generational cycle is what
Mhm.
I know is happening for us.
Yeah, I really hope so too. And I'm gonna do my part as well in that, right? Because yeah, I think a lot of the same things that I would like to share with my daughter are the same as what you shared, similar to what I would have told myself at a younger age as well. So like, don't do the dieting, you're not what you weigh, all of those kinds of things too. And in addition, I would say like taking care of you, like the inside and the outside is worth it. Like to say, and you are worth it, you're worth the effort, right? So that could also look like, so not using food to be able to numb out or medicate your feelings or whatever it is, right? So I think that that's a pattern that I picked up early on, and I can see sometimes my daughter has picked up the same thing. And so like talking about, is that a really good way to love yourself, is what you're eating a way to love yourself without setting her up for diet trauma.
Yeah, and that's where the
Diet
conversation is
trauma.
tricky, right? It's
Yes, it is.
slippery slope. Yeah.
Right, because if you're looking at having I don't know, like a donut or some chips once in a while, okay, if that's what you really want to have. But then I think you and I talked about this earlier, can you sit down and have it really mindfully, so you're not eating it while you're scrolling on your phone, you're not eating it while you're watching TV or whatever, but you're actually enjoying it, like enjoying all of it. Right. So because I think the tendency is, you can swing both ways, and you can be really restrictive with a diet, which is not healthy. And you can just use food to just manage your emotions for you without looking at that. So I think I would talk to my daughter about that emotional management, and what does that look like? And all these feelings that you're having, they feel overwhelming, and they're all valid.
Mhm.
They're all valid feelings, right? So what can we do to like actually sit with those feelings and experience them and learn what they're there to teach us, rather than just rush off into, some kind of strategy to numb out or escape from those feelings. Yeah. So that's one thing that I would hope to share. And then also, really, like, you're not brought into this world to please other people. So this gets into more around boundaries and things too, right? It's not your job to make sure that everybody around you is happy and pleased with you, right? That you're your own person, and you have gifts and abilities that you're here to contribute to the world in a way that is meaningful to you, and it's not other people's expectations that should reign supreme in your world. Yeah. So, and then the other thing I would tell her is, it's none of your business what other people think of you.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I'm still learning that.
Oh, aren't we
50 years
all?
old, still learning that, right? Because you get caught up in this. I mean, I heard these messages growing up. My grandmother, was famous for saying, well, how would that look?
Yes.
you know, like concerned about the appearances and the optics. And, you know, part of that was generational, but part of it was also, you know, an inability to sort of speak your mind, right? You had to tamp things down and not do what you wanted to do, you know? So really to come back, I keep coming back to that phrase, like, it's none of my business what other people think of me.
Yeah.
I'm just going to try and stay out of their heads, and I'm going to focus on what I need to do for myself.
Oh, that's such good advice. And we know that no matter how much we try to please somebody else, if that's what we're trying to do, it's
Yeah.
still never going to be good enough for somebody,
So
right?
it's a black
So,
hole.
yeah. So, and you know, this goes back to beliefs, and I think that this is a really, before we go into our last question, like, you know, so many of the beliefs that we're still carrying today, I often challenge myself on them because are they really mine? Because we take on the beliefs and the shoulds that other people have taught us, and we can feel very strongly about it, but then you have to really question, well, why do you feel so strongly about it? And it's often because of what other people, you know, will think of us, because again, we are conditioned to want to belong, we want to connect, we need that as humans, right? So the last thing we want to do is be the one that doesn't agree or doesn't do things the way other people do it. But in the end, I really believe like you could do all these things for other people, but if inside then you're now not being your authentic self, and because you've just changed who you are to make other people happy, then that's the path of, well, it's the path that I went on. So
Me too.
yeah, that's why we connect so well on these topics. So I'm loving this conversation, so thank you
Me
for that.
too.
Yeah. Thank you for everyone that's tuning in so far. Okay, last question. We're almost done. Bethany, what do you hope for yourself 5 or 10 years from now?
I love and hate this question.
You came up with it.
I did, I know, but I've not usually been much of a like a goal setter. Like I don't set out a goal for myself, like I'm going to accomplish this by this time or whatever. I do tend to go with the flow a little bit more, but I do see things going in directions, right? And so so I do hope that I will have helped a lot of people to get closer to their true authentic selves by stopping the struggle with body and weight and food and eating. Um, yeah, I really hope to have had a big impact on not just people close to me, around me, but I hope to be able to do that for people all over the world, you know, and have them step into that true authentic self, I think. And I also hope for myself that I will still be in a place of just discovering, and a place of radical honesty with myself, and living free, right? So like I know that there are more layers of the onion that need to be peeled off, and so I can find even more freedom and even more gratitude. And that's the process that I'm in. And I hope that that's kind of an eternal process. I don't think I'm ever going to say I've arrived, or I've fully recovered or anything. Like I just think that I feel like grateful, and I want to be, you know, very present for each day and see what's available. And I think things like doing this for me, this is a new thing for me. I haven't been a part of a Facebook Live like this, and Kim can tell you, like, I need help with these, like understanding how Facebook works and things like this. So, but putting myself out there to do something like this, I think is a great step in the right direction. So I hope to be able to continue to do things like that 5 to 10 years from now, that I will have just challenged myself to do some of these things that for growth, I think just for no other reason than for growth and to learn. Because I see myself on this sort of endless journey of learning. I've always loved school. Like we're recording this in September, and that has traditionally been my favorite time of year because I got to go to school, and well, I also loved all the like the pencil crayons and and things like that. But also just to go back and just to keep learning. You know, I liked summer as well, but I liked the process of learning. So I hope to keep that I'm still learning lots 5 to 10 years from now. I don't think I'll ever stop.
Mm.
So how about you, Kim? Where do you hope to be?
Yeah, I very much connect with everything that you've just shared. 100%. I mean, I already have global reach, but I want that reach to go even bigger than it is now. And I really truly believe that has a lot to do with me showing up even more, trusting myself even more, trusting my voice even more, allowing myself to share my opinions, which I know that many people do not agree with, and being really grounded in knowing that we don't have to agree, but that we can all share, because that's how we all learn and grow, is by having these conversations. And so, using my voice, I have many times said that I'm going to have a podcast. I will have a podcast that is on my radar 100%. And more stages to speak on. I have a wonderful desire to work with women. So, I've always thought about it from a retreat setting, but I've also found myself in spaces that I never expected myself to be, and had those opportunities. So it's really, to me, the whole piece of holistic health is really important to me. And so speaking on all of those elements that come under that umbrella, and so using my voice and my platform to do that is exciting for me for my future, as well as just continued peace. And as you said, I think about the season right now, and I love the quote. I won't quote it exactly, but how trees shed, and that says that we can shed and that there's new growth coming. And that is the beauty of life, is that we can continue to release and grow and regenerate ourselves to keep moving towards what is beautiful and peaceful for us and joyful. I want more play in my life. Like, I know the things that I want now that I didn't have before, because as I continue to shed myself from what diet culture sheltered me from, as I continue to dip my toes and play in that, I realize I really want to do it so much more, and experience more of life, grow a business, help people, but have a whole hell of a lot of fun doing it. So that's where my direction's going for sure. And to continue to have my beautiful family, supporting them in their dreams and their endeavors, and getting my husband out on the water more in his boat. He wants to have a boat. So I just want, it's just like, give it like more fun, more play, more gratitude in life. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Let's do it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Thank you, Bethany, for this awesome conversation. I'm sure we will be talking again.
Yeah, I'll come on your podcast when you launch the
Yeah.
podcast. I'll be there.
I love it. I love it. And listen, we're going to also reshare this out into Instagram. So anybody who watches this at any time, please know that we are here for you. Bethany, do you want to let everyone know where they can reach out to you if they want to learn more about you?
Sure. Yeah. So my husband and I run a company called Symplicated. So it's Symplicated. And yeah, spelled a little bit funny, a bit of a made up word, but it's really about simplifying your life. So we help with other things too, like decluttering and wardrobe editing and things like that to help streamline. And so, yeah, I think about, decluttering the things that hold you back from your best life. And so people can find me there on the website. And Instagram, Facebook, same handle.
Awesome. Awesome. And my name is Kim Basler, obviously, and I'm also on Facebook. That's where we are right now. On Instagram, you can find me at Kim Basler _food freedom, and website's kimbasler.com. Obviously here to help and support. We both are. And we really hope that you enjoyed this non-scripted conversation. I mean, we came in with some questions, but it's been really great. And Bethany, I thank you for your time.